When it comes to keyboard, there are world-renowned brands that stands out the most, such as Razer, Logitech, Corsair, SteelSeries, etc. The keyboards that they produce are of high quality, and they are no stranger to being the best of the best. However, the thing that bugs me the most is the price. They might be one of the best at making mechanical keyboards, but they are also known for their extremely expensive price tags. So what we're looking today is a mechanical keyboard alternative that will not break your bank or your wallet. It is the TecWare Phantom TKL 87 key layout mechanical keyboard at only $35 US. In this box, it contains the Phantom keyboard, 4 spare mechanical switches, a switch puller, a keycap puller, and a manual. They are quite considerate as they provide 4 spare mechanical switches for consumers to exchange if any of the switches are broken. Moving on to the keyboard itself, this is the 87 10 keyless version, as I do not have the use for the numpad for any of my daily tasks. However, you could pick up the 104 keys version of the keyboard at around $40 or $45 US. For those who don't use numpad that much or at all, I would recommend going for the TKL version as it is cheaper and more compact, which would make your gaming setup more aesthetically pleasing. The layout is also market standard, so you won't have any hard time adjusting to the layout. The build quality of the keyboard is immaculate. You will never find any other keyboard with this kind of build quality at this price. It has a black plastic body and a gunmetal alloy backplate, which gives it a very sturdy feel, and you can't even bend it like a cheap keyboard does. And it is heavy at 0.95 kg or 2.09 pound. There are a few variants of the keyboard look that you can go for, and the one that I bought is no shroud, where there is no magnetic frame cover under the keycaps, and the keycaps that I chose was black. You can also opt for black or white shroud, and the keycaps options includes black, white, black grey, white grey, pudding black, and pudding white. Personally, I would like to buy the pudding black keycaps as the RGB of the keyboard would pop out more, but the retailer that I bought from doesn't have any. How unfortunate. These are double shot ABS keycaps, so you will not find your keycaps color wearing off or fading away. And the font of the keycaps is not as intrusive or weird, but it's actually look kinda nice, professional and gamer friendly. I'll give it a 8 out of 10 for that. On the bottom of the keyboard is where you'll find 2 feet that elevates the keyboard at around 1 cm at the top. You can also find a switch remover that is tucked in underneath. It is quite convenient to have the access to switch remover if you want to change the switches out without having to store it somewhere and maybe lose it in the future. The cable for the keyboard is a 1.8 meter long braided USB cable, which I find to be very good, as braided cable would have better endurance for the long run. Apart from the build quality, the surprising thing about this keyboard is that it is factory modded, where you can see that underneath the body plate is the foam pad, which would help in reducing the space between the board and reduces any unwanted hollow sound. The switches are also looped, so you don't have to buy any keyboard loop for the switches. Very convenient. Speaking of switches, this keyboard uses Ultimu mechanical switches, and there are 3 available variants such as Ultimu Blue, Ultimu Brown, Ultimu Red. The one that I bought is Ultimu Red, which is a linear switch with an actuation force of 50 grams. The noise level is considered low from what they advertise, and it has an actuation distance of 2 mm and travel distance of 4 mm. The other 2 switches that you can purchase is a tactile and clicky blue switch at 60 gram actuation force, and the tactile brown switch at 55 gram actuation force. The switches are advertised for 50 million strokes, so you probably will not face any switch issue for the next 10 years. The next thing in mind for the keyboard is that it uses FR4 fiberglass PCB circuit board, which I won't go into details as I'm not fit to explain the internal working and the benefit of using that circuit board at all. But all in all, it is good. Not that any of you guys would mind what circuit board is used in the keyboard, but it's on the screen for any of you guys that is interested. The rated voltage for the keyboard stated on their website is 5 voltage or 300 milliamp. For any engineers out there, and the polling rate of the keyboard is at 1000 Hz, which is the frequency of how often the keyboard sends data to your computer. And 1000 Hz is pretty good for gaming performance, so you don't need to worry about anything. The lighting on the keyboard is pretty decent, as each key is illuminated by their own per key RGB, which means that you could pick your own preferred color for each individual key. And you could also customize your own profile. There are 3 options that you could choose from, which is the individual key lighting customization, spectrum selection mode, where a single color selection is presented in the palette of color, as well as 18 preset lighting modes, where you won't need to download any software and you can change it on the fly. The included preset lighting modes are breathing with color cycle, breathing with static color, fixed color, horizontal wave, pulse wave, hurricane, reactive with ripple, reactive with single color, reactive horizontal, vertical wave, waterfall, swirl, sine wave, vortex, raindrops, diagonal wave, intensity, and ripple. And to control or switch between the preset lighting, all you need to do is just press the FN key and the 6 function keys on the right. You can experiment with it to see how it works, and you can choose the color preset instead of downloading any software for the lighting. Because personally, I would prefer the normal breathing with color cycle, as the most normies RGB color cycles for gamers, but go ahead and go crazy with the RGB as you wish. The software that you can download from their website includes macro recording, macro assignment, custom user profile, and custom per key lighting. So the link for their website will be provided in the description down below. And now the part of the video where all of you guys are waiting for, the sound test. It is what you would expect from a linear switch keyboard, but the way the foam pad and loop help with the sound, it actually sounds pretty decent, 8 out of 10 in my opinion. So there you have it, the TecWare Phantom TKL87, an impressive keyboard at a very affordable price range. I would not hesitate to recommend this to anyone that has a tight budget or would prefer something of similar quality to a popular keyboard but at a lower price. So leave a like on this video if you'd like to see more tech video in the future, and I'll see you very soon. Peace.
Wow. Wait a minute, you didn't drink it, you gotta be kidding. I feel my stomach is sickened, I feel my love for you shrinking. You never wanted to listen, I made a careless decision. I can't go back and just switch it, I'll never give you forgiveness. You chose a life that you hated, I chose the love you were faking. The pros and cons, yeah, I weighed them, you knew the risk I was taking. You blew a kiss as I faded back to the place.